Hey everybody, I'm Prasanna and welcome to my video of Metro Exodus. This shall be a semi-review slash semi-rant of Metro Exodus because I for one have not been a huge fan of this game and I'm going to be talking about why. I understand that Metro Exodus has a pretty huge fan following, especially compared to its former two titles where it was considered a niche title, but Exodus has kind of taken the game to a mainstream level. And if you're enjoying the game, well and good for you. I have no problems if somebody's enjoying the game, but this review is made only for those people who have not bought the game yet and all they hear is praises about this game. So before I begin my rant about the game, I'd like to point out what the game does right, and the game does do a lot of things right and nails a few of the aspects. For example, the graphics. The graphics in all the previous Metro games have always been phenomenal for its timeline, and Metro Exodus is no different. Metro Exodus is one of the best looking games out on PC or any of the consoles right now, and it looks phenomenal. The game also has a pretty good atmosphere, though I'd say it's not as good as what certain people on the internet make it out to be, because I do feel that certain of the design decisions of the game hold the game from being as atmospheric as it could be. The sound design is great, especially the sound of the guns, whether you're firing them from underground or from a cave or out in the open world. The gun sounds are loud, they echo and reverberate, they just sound orgasmic. Although the sound of certain monsters in the game are not as impressive as it could have been, but considering the fact that Exodus is going for a horror, scary theme, the sound design of the monsters should have been perfect, but it's not bad. It gets the job done. Let's move on. Another thing which I'm really impressed with the game is the HUD feature. I played the game on Ranger Hardcore difficulty, the highest one, and in it there are two options before you start your game. One is absolutely no HUD whatsoever, where you don't see any HUD elements. All you get to see is your game, yourself, your guns, the environment, and that means everything else. No HUD elements. You won't be able to see how many bullets you're carrying. None of that. Whereas in the other mode, you get to see your HUD only when you press tab, which is a really neat feature considering I personally haven't played any game with this feature in mind. Either there is zero HUD, you don't get to see how much ammo you're carrying, certain of the HUD elements which are essential don't show up, and you're completely left out in the dark. But Metro Exodus kind of lets you have these HUD elements only when you press tab. Other times, no HUD, you're completely immersed, and this is an awesome feature which I feel has to be implemented in pretty much every game in the future. Metro Exodus is through and through a Metro game. So if you've been a fan of the first two games, then rejoice, because Exodus feels just like the first two games in every aspect. It's claustrophobic, it's linear, it's scripted. Well, except for the point that it's also an open world game. That's where things get confusing. Because in Exodus, the open world doesn't do much. The open world simply exists. Especially if you're playing on the Ranger Hardcore difficulty like I did, you're not going to be doing much in the open world other than maybe looting stuff here and there. You're not going to be fighting because any monsters or humans that you come across on the way, you're going to try and ignore them and save your ammo. So this whole open world thing is a gimmick. This is a common trend I found in Metro Exodus. If you're playing the game on Ranger Hardcore, then all the minor problems that the game has is only exacerbated. Apart from the game not letting you shoot anything or anybody out in the open world, Ranger Hardcore difficulty also makes you play really passive and really slow, because you basically die in one bullet if it's a headshot or two bullets if it's a body shot. And surprisingly, you get headshot a lot in this game. There were so many times when I had to replay the same checkpoint over and over, where I had to walk a mile to get to the combat area only to be headshot by some guy I couldn't even see. The game is just so realistic in its graphics, which is great and all, but when you keep getting headshot by somebody you can't see so many times and you have to walk a mile, especially when you don't have a boat or a van near you, it gets highly annoying. The major problem with this game is that the game does not allow you to show any bit of skill. I mean, this isn't exactly a tactical shooter. And even in tactical shooters, like the older Rainbow Six games or Project IGI or SWAT or any tactical game that you can think of, there is always a certain element of skill that you can show to get out of a sticky situation. That is never the case with Exodus because your character moves that damn slow and it's just so annoying. Even the gun sway is a lot more compared to the other first person shooters, making it much more difficult for you to be accurate with your weapons. Couple this with low ammo count on the Ranger hardcore difficulty and the ability of enemies to see you from much far away, and especially when they can camouflage themselves behind cover, it just adds to the frustration, especially when they one shot you. It feels like the game is just designed to annoy you at this point. Another major complaint I have about this game is that it is heavily story based, which is all well and good, except the voice acting is horrible. In a story game, when the voice acting is shit, basically, it just takes away all the immersion. I mean, just listen to this guy, Miller, who's one of the most important characters in the game. Just listen to him speak. Nobody speaks like this in real life.
I had a talk with the Ark, and all thanks to Tokarev. He got the decoder working.
Ark, come in. Come in, Ark. Over.
Of all the issues I mentioned, none of them is as annoying as this complaint I have right now. The game is scripted as fuck. Every single action that you do in the world has a mini animation. Look, I love linear games. But the whole reason the word linear became a bad word in the gaming industry is because of games like these. Every single action that you do has an animation. You wanna pass under a rock? Press and hold E. You wanna hold your wife Anna's hand? Press and hold E. You wanna go loot a gun? A part of a gun? Go press and hold R. I mean, why? Thankfully there's no animation for that. But why? That you have to go loot the dead body by tapping E. I mean, why can't I just tap E once so that I loot both the dead body and I loot his gun part? I have to press and hold so many buttons for such a long time. What is the point of this? So that the developers feel like they've given you a long game so that the player can feel like he's got his value for money? I mean, it's not even realistic at this point. Either have animations for everything, like what Red Dead Redemption 2 does, or don't animate anything and make it completely arcadey. Make it fully realistic or make it fully arcadey. Don't make something in between 50-50. You're not gonna appeal to anybody fully. I simply do not understand what the design mentality for this game is really. How they could have innovated with different kinds of monsters, each with its own unique attack pattern or something. None of that. They all rush at you in your face, waiting for you to blow their faces apart with your shotgun. The humans are a worse threat than the monsters. I mean, when the game is aiming to be spooky and horror themed, and your major threat is a human, there is something fundamentally wrong with the design. Okay, let me try to catch a breath and tell you something good about this game. There are 4 unique levels. The first one is set in ice, the second one is set in a desert, the third one is set in a forest. The fourth one could be a spoiler, so I'm going to avoid it. The first 2 were alright, but the third one was quite fun. Not only did it look great, the forest area, but it also gave access to the best weapon in the game. Well, the most fun weapon in the game. I wouldn't call it the best. The most fun weapon, which is the crossbow, which was really fun to shoot. And there were also more action sequences in the third level, which I really enjoyed. Unfortunately, when I just got the feeling that the game was beginning to escalate, the fourth area slows it all down yet again. This again is a huge disappointment. For every little positive thing that I could find about the game, there's another thing very negative about the game. Well, the game just feels unpolished in many areas. The character gets stuck onto so many places. Sometimes you fall 2 feet and die. Sometimes your ammo doesn't get past certain obstacles when it's supposed to. These are minor annoyances, but they exist and they are very noticeable because they do happen very frequently. So, yes, thankfully, the game is pretty decently optimized for the way it looks. So, that's that. Overall, I did not enjoy this game at all. I'm pretty sure you guys could tell from my voice. But yes, if you did like the first two games, you're probably going to enjoy this game as well. So that's that. But if you are on the fence, if you thought this open world would change anything for you, it's not going to. Especially if you're playing on the higher difficulties. I'd suggest all of you guys to just play the game on the normal difficulty, turn off certain of the hard elements that you don't like, and just have fun. You try to play this game on Ranger Hardcore, it's just a pain in the ass. So that pretty much sums up my review. Thanks for watching. Sorry if I sounded way too grumpy, but I just hate this game. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye. Fuck!